room if we have to overflow on this side of the
Do whatever you have to do. Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll make it work.
So if you got to overflow, I don't know how much room we're going to have, but maybe one row this way and this rail if we have to. It looks like we're good.
Yeah, you're all right.
Well, I guess I'm
going to.
All good. First off, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for coming today. I can speak for my entire family when I tell you that the last couple of months have been tremendously difficult for us. We've been so incredibly shocked by the loss of David that most of us have been unable to publicly talk about it. There is a grief in his passing and in the way in which he was taken from us that has cut so deep into our hearts that I don't believe we'll ever completely recover from it. Anyone who's dealt with the murder of a loved one can no doubt testify to this. Time may subdue the wounds, but I'm afraid the scars will be permanent. On the morning of April 18th, a good man, a loving father, and a faithful public servant was ripped from this earth long before his time should have been over. But if the enormity of our loss can be in some way measured by the response to it, then you have only to take a look at the community, the state, and the country in which he served to appreciate its magnitude. Our family has received innumerable acts of kindness from so many individuals, families, and organizations that it would take me hours to stand here and list them all. Honoring of David's service and the principles he fought for have come from far and wide. From the Logan County Sheriff's Department, the Governor's Office, and even police departments in the New England states, we've seen an outpouring of respect and remembrance of David's sacrifice. The family would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the American Legion, the Texas Fallen Officer Foundation, Answered Prayers Ranch, Woodring Wall of Honor in Enid, Fogarty Elementary School, the Lazy E Arena, Smith Gallo Funeral Home, and numerous other businesses and establishments for their raffles, dinner benefits, and community gatherings. I would also like to take a moment to personally thank all of the people who lined the streets of Guthrie during David's funeral procession. I can't tell you how much it meant to me and my family to see this community stand with us in solidarity as David was being carried to his final resting place. Your presence touched our hearts deeply. In the days since his passing, we've heard many stories by longtime friends and strangers alike about David's professionalism and his kind heart. They made me realize just how much pride he took in his role as a police officer. To me, he was always just my big brother, the boy I shared a childhood with, the man I proudly shared military service with. I will always be looking up to him. Truthfully, I'm not surprised by any of that, but rather grateful that he had a chance to make a positive impact on those he encountered. I do not believe that his memory will soon be forgotten. But not only does he leave behind a legacy of who he was, there's also the matter of his unnecessary death to be reconciled. I read a quote once that said, "The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is the duty of the living to do so for them." My family and I are deeply saddened to have to bear this torch, but rest assured we are committed to seeing the full extent of the law carried out on the person who wrongfully took David from us. Let there be no question that we fully support District Attorney Thomas's decision to pursue the death penalty. I have every faith that the justice system will deliver what my brother and those left behind missing him rightfully deserve. The scales will be weighed, and evil will reap what it has sowed. Again, we thank the community for their continued support, their words of encouragement, and their love. There are tough times ahead for my family still, but our hearts will be carried. by so many. Bless you all. Sheriff?
You know, anytime we think about this event that occurred on April 18th, it's a sombering event to all of us that put the uniform on every day, leave our family to come out here and protect yours, knowing that every day that we come to work may be the last time we see our families. And you know, here we had Deputy Wade that met that fateful thought. You know, as Brother Jerry said, the support of the community for the family as well as us has been tremendous, keeping us going. It's hard for us to go through a tragedy such as this, losing one of our brothers, and knowing that tomorrow we still have a job to do. And all the men and women of the Logan County Sheriff's Department have stepped up, and there has not been a lack of service during this whole event. So I give my hats off to those guys and gals that are coming out here and working every day, continuing to take the calls. You know, where I can go in my office and not have to put myself in harm's way, and those guys are still doing it today. So we got a great staff here that's really taking care of business even after this tragedy. You know, we are healing, but we will never be whole. You know, we're working on putting some things up inside our police department of gifts we've received in memorial of Deputy Wade as well as Deputy Wright. You know, we lost him in November of last year. And we're doing this in hopes of a reminder to all of us that do walk the thin blue line, that this is the reality we face each and every day. Do not take the life we have for granted. You know, one thing that gives me comfort is knowing that David was a believer in Jesus Christ, so I know that I will see him again. With that, the family has a prayer that they'd like for me to read. Dear Lord, law enforcement is not an easy task to do, yet there are many who choose to wear the shield. They serve each day to the oaths they swore are true, protecting and serving a safer, better world to build. Lord, now we gather to pay our deepest honor to one of ours, an officer killed in the line of duty. It matters not the style of the shield they wore, only that they served with pride and honorability. Lord, all that matters is that they were one of us, serving wherever we needed, from rich mansions to dirtiest alleys, confident and proud, highly honored by the people's trust. So they carried a shield, mindful of all their sacred duties. Lord, you have called one of us home to glory. The race with life for this one is now done. Peace, blessed peace, and safety forever now with thee. Welcome rest now in heaven for all of eternity. May time never erase the sacrifices that was made. May no officer ever fall alone to lie cold in the grave. May those of us still serving remember well the price they paid. May their memory stand forever as one who went down brave. Lord, give us the courage to carry on, to still live and care, to not be vengeful or bitter, to simply trust your word is true. May we always cover with pride the shield we wear, to honor all fallen officers who we now commend to you. You know, on that day, minutes after the call came out of an officer being shot, the state responded in true Oklahoma fashion. There was more law enforcement here in this 750 square miles than I think in the rest of the state. That tells you the dedication to each other as well as the communities that we serve. And I think each and every one of those agencies, from the FBI to the smallest police department that showed up to help us that day, regardless of shoulder patch, regardless of badge, we came together as one to find the evil that took David's life, and that mission was accomplished. And with that, I thank those agencies. That's all I got. Is there anybody else? I'll take some questions if the family's okay with that.
We just want to know about Deputy Wade and what was he like as a person.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, I've been around Guthrie all my life, as David was, short of when he was deployed to the military. And, you know, as I said in my funeral speech, he was one of those guys you could always tell was destined to serve in a uniform. He always looked sharp. He had a very intelligent sense of humor, was a very intelligent man, was here to serve everybody at whatever cost, obviously. Was just a good dude, good guy. You know, he was a human being. You know, peel off the uniform, peel off the patches, he was one of us. He was just like you guys. And as you can see standing behind me, you know, this is his family. So when you see an officer, don't just look at the uniform he wears. Think about the family that stands behind him, as his family's doing today. So it's a job we do, but it does not define us.
Sheriff, can you talk about what the Sheriff's Office is going to do moving forward to keep honoring his memory and legacy?
Well, we've got several things working. We've received, like I said, a lot of things from other agencies as well as private organizations. We're going to build a memorial wall. At some point in time, we'd like to build a Logan County law enforcement memorial. Of course, not the scale as Washington, D.C., but something that's nice and appropriate for people to come visit and honor our fallen officers, not just here, but the county-wide. So those are things that we're going to work on, find a location, find a designer to start building something like that for us. Because I think it's important that, I mean, you know, this was my worst nightmare as an agency administrator, is losing one of my guys. And I want the guys that serve here, that serve in this county, to realize that this, you know, this is all of our worst nightmares. Don't ever forget the dangers or the seriousness of the job we do. We may have a lot of fun at it and joke around with each other, but we know that at the end of the day, it could be our last. You know, it could be any one of us that are facing that situation. So it helps us keep our zero, if you will, to what is the ultimate reality of what any of us could succumb to.
It's a powerful statement, you all standing here. Could someone from your family tell us why you guys chose to come out and thank the community?
I can't speak for you guys, but you know, you lose. You know, when you lose somebody in natural causes, it's still a traumatic situation. When you lose somebody due to homicide or murder that's taken in a violent manner, it really kind of puts everybody's thought process on overkill, if you will. And so I think what you have here is they needed time to grieve on their own without the public's view, and we're 2 or 3 months past this now, and I think the family wanted to publicly come together and thank the community, thank the state, thank the nation as a whole for supporting them during the time that they grieved and will continue to grieve. And I mean, I would ask the news media and everybody else to give them their time to grieve. You know, we all grieve in different ways. You know, for us at the agency, I mean, you know, Dave will forever be in our hearts, and that day is etched in our memory forever. And so I think it's just an opportunity for the family to come together as one, publicly thank everybody, and then continue the grieving process. Is that accurate?
I will also add that
Here, stand up here so they can check.
I'll just also add that in the time of age that we live in, where police officers across the nation take a beating in the media, it really weighed on our hearts to make sure that the people in the community who came out to pay their respects to David in the way that they did, it shows, I think it shows the country that at the local level, the officers are appreciated, regardless of what they have to put up with on national media, and then sometimes the pressures they have to go through just to see the response for the community, especially like I mentioned in my speech when we were in the funeral procession on our way, and just to see everybody lined up and to just lock eyes with those people out the window, it really got me. And we needed to do this, and we wanted to do this. So, that's all I had to say.
Can you tell us who all is here today?
Lots of people. We got my wife, Andrea, my daughter, Danielle. This is one of David's longtime friends from the Marine Corps, Jason Tower. His son, Tristan. His mother. We have numerous other cousins, aunts, uncles. His grandmother's here. Right here. Just, yeah.
Jerry, can you talk about the renaming of the highway portion of the road and what that means for you guys?
I think that's wonderful. I think that's a great honor.
If David could hear you right now, what would you say to him?
Yeah. Yeah. We love him, and I just want him back.
Miss him?
Yeah, we miss him for sure. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out today.